Hello and welcome to our lesson. We are now going to go through a max calculator program in C that will help us understand the concept of data types, the concept of variable definition, variable declaration, variable assignment, as well as variable output. So we are going to go through a particular program, understand line by line, as well as see the output that it gives us. So this is just but a sample program that will emphasize on how do you declare variables, how do you assign values to variables, and how do you display an output. So as usual, we need to have that file, the standard input output header file. Remember, it's the one that contains the commands that are necessary for us to display an output. In this given case is a printf statement. The int main, as we are all aware, is where the execution begins. It's just like the driver's seat. It's where the vehicle that moves, everything begins from that particular point. So the first thing that we are going to do is to declare 4 variables. 3 variables are supposed to store the max. EMG2101 will store the max 45. EMG2102 is going to store the max 60. EMG2103 is going to store the max 70. And then we'll equally have another variable called total that's supposed to store the summation for the 3 max. We'll equally declare 2 variables. One is called average. It's supposed to store for us an average of the 3 marks. And also another one called percentage. That's supposed to give us what's the percentage score. After storing that, it's necessary for us to do the necessary computations. Once we have stored the values, next step is for us to process before we display the output. So we would want to know, how do we get the total? So the total is gotten by adding the value in variable EMG2101 plus the value that is in EMG2102 plus the value that is EMG2103. And that result is what you store on total. Similarly, average is gotten by, once we have gotten that total, we need to divide by the total number of subjects. And that gives us the average. The next thing is on how we compute the percentage. And of course, the percentage is gotten by taking the total, you divide by the 300, then you multiply by 100. Because each of them totals up to 100, the 3 of them totals to 300. You get the total, what the student got, then you multiply by 100. Then we now need to display for us the output. So we want to have several headings. So the first heading should be EMG2101, EMG2102, EMG2103, the total, the average, and the percentage. Let me first of all show you how the output looks like, and then we can explain how that is all about. So this is what I'm talking about, the headings being displayed, and we would want the corresponding marks to be displayed beneath them. So how do we achieve that? We use the printf. Remember, when you put a printf, everything that is within the double quotes is displayed as it is. So we are going to type EMG2101. Percentage %T is a tab space. It gives uniform spacing. As you can see in this given case, there is some uniform spacing between those particular headings. So you can see between each of them, I have put a percentage %T, which is a tab space, which gives us uniform spacing. And then I have a percentage %N, which is a new line escape sequence, which says that everything after the word percentage should begin on a new line. And you can see after percentage, everything began on a new line. The next thing, we are going to have a printf statement on our line 10, which is just but a separator. As you can see in this given case, it's just a separator, which we can achieve by doing that. You can just put some dashes, and then you have a percentage %N, which simply says that everything else should start on a new line. Then the next thing is just displaying. So one thing that you need to realize is that we need to begin with the conversion or the format specifiers, and then we follow that with a variable name. Now, each format specifier should match to its corresponding variable name, and they should appear in the same order. So if you have 5 format specifiers, we would expect 5 variable names. The first format specifier is responsible for the first variable after the comma, in that manner all the way to the end. So for instance, this %d is responsible for the first EMG2101, the next %d responsible for the second one, the third %d responsible for the third one, the fourth %d responsible for total. Then you begin to say we have a %f, but we have put a %.2f. Now, .2 means that we want to display the average and the percentage to 2 decimal places. We do not want a float displaying for us 7 values. So we would want to convert them to the nearest 2 decimal places. So that's why we say a 0.2. So that means it's going to display for us like 63.42, 68.31. And similarly, we do the same for our percentage. And our program ends at that, and you have the closing curly bracket. So I'd want you to go through that particular program, try it on your given machine, see to it that you are able to get such a similar output. This is what I'm talking about, the .2. So you can see that the averages and the percentage have been displayed to the nearest 2 decimal places. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next lesson.